Yeah. Let me quickly. I think, yeah, we are good. Okay, yeah. I think panelists all are here, and we slowly have people joining in, and then we also have people who are watching us through our different social media channels through our live stream as well. So, uh, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone, like from whichever part of the globe you are joining us today. And thank you all again for joining us for this exciting and insightful session, which is the future of corporate learning trends and innovation. My name is Nitin, and I'm thrilled to be your host and moderator for today's discussion. Uh, so as we all know, learning continues to kind of evolve rapidly in this digital age. And today's conversation will kind of dive deep into how AI, gamification, and knowledge structuring and personalized learning are redefining the organization, training, and empowering their teams. This webinar is brought to you by Exaltius Academy. We are a global and upskilling platform that delivers insightful industry kind of aligned AI-powered corporate training solutions and programs designed to future-proof your workforce. So you can learn more about us and our programs at exaltiusacademy.com. Now, without further ado, let's get started with our amazing panel of speakers and discussion. To quickly introduce our very first panelist, it's my absolute pleasure to kind of introduce Mr. Manoj Kumar Lal. Manoj is a postgraduate from Indian Institute of Science. He brings with him over 28 years of experience in IT project delivery, having played kind of key roles across requirement management, solution design, agile delivery, quality assurance, and domain training. He is a renowned domain thinker and a lifelong student of life insurance domain. Uh, but what truly kind of sets him apart is his pioneering work in the knowledge structuring. He is the creator of the knowledge-driven development, which is called as KDD framework, a structured approach to kind of digitalizing and managing projects, knowledge that kind of bridges the gap between high-level education, business goals, and ground execution. Also, his industries and enterprise knowledge structures for the first time bring in a sense of completeness and quantification in these domains. Through these frameworks and publications, he is an author for Cambridge University Press. Manoj is on a mission to kind of bring clarity and orders to the way we manage and transfer knowledge across industries and enterprises, helping us kind of reimagine how corporate learning can truly evolve in the digital age. Uh, Please join in and a very warm welcome to you, Manoj, to the session.
Thank you.
Yeah. Now, moving forward, like our second panelist for the day is Rajil Sudhakaran. So I'm again thrilled to kind of introduce him and welcome him as a next panelist. He is a seasoned leader and with over 3 decades of rich cross-continental experience spanning in the field of aviation, travel and tourism and academic sector. Currently serving as the commercial head of GCC and India, Rajil has been instrumental in driving market expansion, digital innovation, and commercial success across regions like UAE, Kenya, Tanzania, Nigeria, and India. Now, his journey is nothing short of remarkable from launching successful B2B platforms like RiaConnect.travel and ConnectMe.com in India to kind of scaling operations across Africa and Middle East. His also made significant contribution in education and professional training, helping establish institute like RK Academy of Excellence and corporate learning verticals in the UAE region. Known for his visionary thinking and operational leadership, Rajil brings a rare blend of strategy and real world experience to the table. We are honored to have you on this panel, Rajil. Welcome.
Thank you, Nitin, for introducing me to the audience here. I'm really excited to be a part of this panel discussion today, and will try my best to share all the experience that I've gained past 3 decades of being in the field. Thank you so much for calling me out. Yeah.
Certainly, certainly looking forward to it. And our moving forward to our third panelist who is joining in today, introducing Kelly B. Sakaben, who is again like a truly embodied the spirit of technical innovations and leadership. Uh, Now, Nicole Kelly is like a senior cloud DevOps engineer at Momentive Software with global project experience across France, Germany, the US, and the Philippines. She has led cloud modernization projects using Azure, AWS, and GCP platforms and excel in the infrastructure automation, CI/CD, scripting, and data engineering. Now, Nicole is also a former Google Developer Student Club lead, certified Microsoft innovative educator, and an active speaker, mentor, and board member shaping the future of engineering education. Our ability to kind of combine the technical excellence and with a passion for community building and mentoring makes her an inspiring voice in the tech ecosystem. Welcome to the panel, Nicole. Pleasure to have you join us today.
Thank you. Thank you so much. It's my pleasure as well.
Perfect. So, since yeah, so maybe we'll quickly delve into the insightful experience and expertise of all the panelists. Just I'll quickly start with one of the question which I wanted to address to you, Nicole. So, what role do you see AI kind of playing in shaping the future skill employee needs? So, not just technically, but also in terms of creative collaboration and critical thinking.
With that, in terms of creativity, AI could generate ideas, but humans, employees, will be the one who will do storytelling with it, who will expound it more, and it could help us, to for brainstorming and such, for also contribute with their critical thinking, of course.
Okay.
And then another thing is that these AI could be your assistants when it comes to meetings. It could help you transcribe a recording. It could be your assistant, notes, summarize everything, and just write down those keywords that are important from the meeting, and it would be much faster to summarize everything from a meeting. So another thing is that it could help more to collaborate for each teams with these AI tools. So that's a big help for employees and for the company as well.
Perfect. I think, yeah. So I love how you highlighted the human side of tech skill as well. So very refreshing over there. Like, and again, like AI needs human co-pilot with empathy and vision and collaboration, which is something I do believe as well. Uh, a much needed perspective as we kind of rethink reskilling to the kind of future, right? So thank you for sharing those insights again, Kelly. Now, quickly, I'll move on to Mr. Manoj, right? Like, so, Manoj, I wanted to kind of understand from you, right? Like, so you often spoke about like how unstructured knowledge causes gap in project delivery. So, how can organization better structure knowledge to kind of drive effective corporate learning?
I wanted to put a disclaimer that this is my personal opinion, not the
Okay,
company that I represent.
okay,
And This is, I mean, we are in the digital AI age, and unstructured knowledge impeding project delivery is still a reality. It was a reality 28 years ago when I had joined, and it is still a reality. Now, and this is not something that is a new thing that anyone would like to discuss. This is known reality that unstructured knowledge causes impediments in project delivery. Now, how it causes, and when how do we contextualize in terms of project delivery? So let's take waterfall first, because waterfall is at least trying to manage the knowledge, whereas agile doesn't go into the deep knowledge. Now, project delivery is creation of something, creation of a software. So when we talk about creation of a software, it can't be fulfilled by high-level statements, and then we will do this and we will do that. Right? Somebody has to go to bricks and mortars and do the coding.
Correct.
Right? So they need to know the last level of details of knowledge, which agile I mean, as they're one of the 4 core principles, they don't emphasize on it. And their philosophy is okay. I mean, what they are saying is, no, I mean, write down, or if you need to write down enough of information that should start meaningful discussions between the project teams, the development team, so that you can drill down and get going. And don't wait till you write down the last level of details, which is their philosophy, which is all okay. But for that reason, they don't go into the last level of documenting or specifying the last level of detail. So that's the agile part of it. Waterfall, if we come back, they have bulky documents. And when we talk about document, that is where we say these informations are unstructured, because let's say one theme can be repeated 15 times in a document. And if somebody takes pain to say that, okay, this particular idea is wrong, now, I mean, as an author, I go and edit that or correct that idea. When there's a very less chance that I will correct that in 15 instances that is there in my 50 pages document, right?
Correct.
And the moment project delivery teams start getting start realizing that it is not 100% correct, they start they stop believing in it, and then they always come back to those people who have authored it and say, forget the document, you tell me what is right, what is the requirement, right? So because the information is unstructured, it creates lots and lots of rework and test coverage gap, requirement going into iterations, and all that sort of things impedes project delivery. So that's the problem side of it. Now, if we come back in how to resolve this, and that is where I have some basic thinking, we can resolve this. And today, the aids, traditional aids, are repositories and structures. It's not that the structures are not there. So structures, for example, your data flow diagrams, your business process models, they are structured representation of knowledge. And then there are repositories like Confluence, Microsoft SharePoint. That is where loads and loads of artifacts are stored. But then there is no single structure that can claim it can contain the entire fit for purpose information that is required for project delivery. So BPM, for example, will only talk about process. Data flow diagram will only talk about data. So I have evolved a structure which claims that it can contain fit for purpose the information in entirety that is needed for project delivery, and that is right from top to bottom, meaning starting with contextual information, it goes up to the last level of information.
Understood.
So that, I mean, I believe that when people know about it, it's a new thing. So most of the people don't know about
Yeah,
it. But when they know about it, they will realize that, okay, there's something new. Now, it is not proven. It is still a conceptual thing, but it has got lots of potential to bring, to aid the learning and development community.
okay. No, thank you. I think that's very valuable insight. Like again, thank you, Manoj. That was like I would say a brilliant breakdown on like how these challenges many organizations which faces today and like how to overcome that, and then how you came up with a prospective solution as well, right? Like so that truly is fascinating, and the perspective kind of really puts the spotlight on the need for structure in all that chaos of like modern learning, right? That's a powerful takeaway again, and I think like structure fuels sustainability in learning, and that's something which we all should kind of probably focus on as well, overcoming that challenges. Thank you. Um, I would want to address one of the question to Mr. Rajil. Like, yeah, so Rajil, considering like, yeah, with your extensive experience in managing and training cross-functional team across like different regions, right? Like, so how do you see corporate learning kind of evolving to meet the need of a global multi-generational workforce?
Yeah. So, Nitin, my take here would be based on the current scenario. The involvement of AI or
Okay.
generative AI and uh, data science is really penetrating in our day-to-day life. Dealing with a lot of corporates in my business, what I see is even in my own company, as I see, there are two set of types of people we are dealing with currently. The new generation probably is having a lot of awareness about artificial intelligence and all these technology, in the day-to-day life, and they are more adaptive. Probably from the school level and these days colleges, they've started teaching in these areas, so they are a bit skilled. Uh, but there's a huge set of employees in major corporates who are coming from the old school, who have never been able to go through an academic session of learning session of these AI, generative AI, data science, or things like that. So now this is the difference between two types of workforce that most of the corporates currently have. So here, corporate training becomes a very important tool. One is to reskill the older generation who have never gone through uh, school or academic based modules on generative AI and things. So they require kind of training, local training, corporate training. And then there is another set of, maybe like, again talking about the younger generation, we presume they are a bit exposed or they may have a formal or an informal training on these modules, but uh, we can differentiate them further. One is technical students with technical background, science and maths background, and there's a huge set of students who are non science and maths background. So they again need a bit of skilling. So that is upskilling them from the current scenario to where they should be. So depending on the company's uh, nature of work, there's a lot of flexibilities that can be involved during corporate training. We What we normally do is first we understand the requirements. So we have a extensive sessions with the HR and the section heads of specific corporate who are willing to do such trainings for their staff. So every corporate have their own requirement, which differs from one corporate, one nature of business to other. Depends also differs from the type of employees they have, their background and all. So we have to sit with them, understand the current perspective, and then come back, design a module for them. So this is where flexibility comes into picture. And these days, these our corporate training, especially using these platforms, AI modules and all, we can really make it very flexible. And then again, to deal with people, a lot of personalization is required, and that again is very important these days. People have a typical mindset, so to
Correct.
make, I mean, to satisfy them, we need have to go back and create models which really grabs their attention while they're learning. And finally, of course, the real world application is very important. That is where I just mentioned about customization of corporate training, which should suit and fulfill uh, the requirement of specific requirement of the client, I mean the corporate that we're dealing with.
Okay.
Yeah, so that
Yeah.
is.
No, I think yeah, I think again like yeah, very insightful coming with your experience in that particular industry and domain, right? Like so that I believe that that truly capture the challenge of learning in the digital and like the global world, like digital world that what we are in right now. And I definitely love how you kind of tied in that generational diversity with learning preference, and that was very thoughtful as well, and a very kind of relevant insight, especially kind of for the distributor and like hybrid teams which we work in these days, right? Like so so again, thank you for sharing that knowledge with all of us. Now again, coming back to you, Kelly, like so uh, like to add on what we have discussed earlier, right? Like so in terms of AI and everything, so in terms of training itself, so if you are, let's say, designing a future ready onboarding program for tech talent, and what innovative elements kind of would you include to kind of keep it relevant and engaging?
First of all, a modern onboarding program should be like, dynamic, engaging, and tailored to the fast evolving tech landscapes. So, one of the things that I can add in this evolving technology would be like you can have an personalization using
Mm-hmm.
AI. These adaptive learning paths based on employees' background with their learning pace and role.
Mm-hmm.
Another one would be like, peer and the mentor networks. AI driven matching for mentorship, your and body programs to accelerate integration. Also, we can integrate, interactive challenges, rewards, leaderboards to make the learning much more fun. And then we can integrate certain documentations. For example, in DevOps stuff, there's a lot of knowledge training sessions that needs to be done. One thing is that there's a lot of documentations, and sometimes it's kind of confusing to just search it everywhere. For example, in Jira or Confluence, or it's documented somewhere, or it's in Notion page and stuff. You can integrate chatbot AI to be used by someone who will be onboarded to easily track which are the updated documentations. By definition, you can actually search how to for the releases, something like that, because sometimes in my industry, in DevOps, in cloud, there's a lot of documentations, and we didn't know what to follow, because sometimes we are having hard time tracking which documentations are outdated and not. So with these chatbots, it could easily, when the one that we documented in Confluence, and if it's integrated with chatbot, we could easily find these documentations, instructions that we could follow by definition, that we don't understand the process in the company, the protocols when it comes to releases. So it could really help us, a new applicant, a newly onboarded applicant, to just search it and, okay, this is what I need to learn. These are the documentations that could assist me along the way for me to learn these things as a newly hired DevOps engineer in the organization, for example. So those are the key learning materials that I would want to integrate in the onboarding process. Yeah.
No, I think yeah, I think that's a brilliant idea. I think that sounds like a onboarding plan like we all want to experience as well, right?
Yeah.
Like especially helpful to kind of startups and fast-growing tech teams. I hope someone out there is taking notes, and these are like a real-world gem, and like they can use it in some of their onboarding process. Thank you, Kali, for sharing that. And quickly, I want to go back to Mr. Manoj, and so coming back to your experience in training, right? Like, so as someone who who has trained above 150 kind of professionals in the insurance domain, what are the key principles you follow to kind of make domain heavy training more engaging and practical?
Yeah. So basic issues in training. But again, it was there 28 years ago. It is still there. That I'd like to, I mean, from my own experience, I'd like to share here. The first one is we get, let's say we get 3 days of training. Now, after getting 3 days of training, on the fourth day, we are at our desk. We have to do 9 hours job, 9 hours or 8 hours job, right? So in that day job, whatever we are, whether we are a business analyst or a developer or a tester, I mean, how much of the training was, I mean, is directly reusable in our day job? This is the biggest challenge. We get the training. Majority of them are conceptual at high level. They don't go into the last level of details, which can actually help the workers on the ground.
Okay.
The second challenge, and again, it is a perennial challenge, is measurability of effectiveness of the training. So we get 3 days of training, whether it has helped us or it will help us in saving 10 days or 15 days or 25 days. There's no measurement of that. Right. And that is predominantly because of the vastness of the subject matter, which doesn't allow us to solve these two issues. Now, that vastness, there is a way in which this vastness can be converted into an objective and scientific sort of quantifiable measure. Now, I'll tell you from a very simple example, and then we will go how do we address this in our training sessions. So let's say today, if we there's a common notion today that industry knowledge is unfathomable, vast, subjective, and even if, let's say just one example, let's say life insurance. Now, there are 3 bodies across the globe which are famous, and they have more than 50 courses in it. But it takes lifelong also for someone to keep doing those courses. It will never end. And they can't say that they know everything on life insurance, and they for that reason they can't even say that they know 25% of life insurance. Right? There's no notion of measurement in learning these things. Now, let's demystify this particular myth. I mean, I don't think industry knowledge is unfathomable and not quantifiable. And let's take a simple example and solve this puzzle. Okay. So let's take 50 top and most popular books on life insurance. Okay. Count, let's pick one book, count the number of sentences in that book. Let's say it is 5,000. Deduplicate them, and unique sentences, let's say 3,000. Okay. Do this for all the 50 books. Deduplicate all those common sentences, and let's say it is 15,000 sentences. Now, I think it is, I mean, we can appreciate that anybody who is on the ground working as an operations person or an IT person, they, practically speaking, don't need to know anything more than these 15,000 sentences. There comes the quantification, right? So the entire life insurance industry knowledge is quantified in 15,000 sentences. Now, this 15,000 is a fictitious number, but there can be a number that we can scientifically arrive at. Now, if there is a way of arranging this 15,000 sentences in a structure where if I have to go to sentence 3,254, I can go there within a minute or two. That is the basic need of today. So if we can access the information, any information of life insurance, if we are working in a life insurance company within 1 or 2 minutes, I think that is wonderful, right? And so the sense of quantification immediately comes in. All the knowledge is structured in one single repository, straight away comes in. And so now it is very easy to realize that Confluence and SharePoints, which are just repositories of multiple heterogeneous artifacts in different formats, so PPTs, Word documents, Excel sheets, and everything all together. Some have right information, some may not have right information. From this jungle, coming out from this anarchy to order is something that is possible because of the structures that we had talked about in KDD. Now, coming back to industry, I mean, I'll try to finish it in next one. Coming back to how we utilize that in the training courses. Now, in the training courses, the first thing that I think Kelly also told, that it has to be meaningful, it has to be related, it has to be something which can help us in our day job. And how do we actually achieve it? Now, how do we actually achieve it is through this particular structure. Now that we know that there can only be 15,000 sentences for learning life insurance, in a specific project that we are doing training, we know in which process, in which product this team is working. Now, selecting those products and processes will reduce that 15,000 sentences to, let's say, to 200 sentences. And these 200 sentences are their last level of details, which they can directly reuse in their requirement document check, use it as a requirement document checklist, test coverage, solutioning document, all those things, they can straight away reuse it. So out of these 200 sentences, 50 can be business rules, 20 can be business data. So this is the level that is directly reusable. And this is the gap that in the training program, if we are able to plug, and that immediately makes training measurable, and that immediately makes it quantifiable, and people can take away from there and come back to their desk, they can start reusing that information. And the remaining things, I think, said that it has to be interactive, it has to be adaptable, it has to be customizable. But all of them can be driven from such a structure which claims completeness. And there is, we can define that it is complete. We don't have time to discuss those things, but we can define the information can be complete.
Okay. No, totally agree. Like, yeah, I think uh, that's a very great and valuable insight, like especially for those who are in the training domain and like heavily regulated industry as well. Making complex domain accessible is truly an art, and especially with the technique what you just mentioned is like really remarkable. Like, so for what I feel is like practical and engaging, right? Like, so these are the two things which we all want from our L&D team, or like we all wanted from our L&D team wherever we have had been in the organization. Again, thank you for sharing that amazing insight and your expertise on this particular topic, Mr. Manoj. Um, now, quickly, I'll move on to Mr. Rajil. Like Rajil, just want to understand from you, right? Like, so having worked in kind of diverse markets as well, right? Like, so you previously you spoke about different industry and like multi-generational kind of workforce, but you have also worked in different market like UAE, Kenya, Nigeria, and India. So, what are some kind of key kind of regional learning trends kind of you have observed, and how can kind of organization tailor their corporate training to kind of localize content without kind of compromising like global standards?
Yeah. So as you just mentioned, I've been across a few countries, and I've personally what I've seen is uh, different countries or the local people in different countries have different adaptive skills. So, for example, UAE, currently I'm in Dubai, and UAE is a country which is kind of digital driven. They emphasize a lot on digital governance, digital learning. Everything you see here is a lot of things are digitalized. So, and they're very adaptive, AI driven things, you know. One of the reason being UAE is a place where you have almost, I mean, it's a melting pot, we call, for people from across the globe. So you'll find almost every type of nationality residing in UAE. So it becomes all the more important, you know, to create a platform which is very generic and very easy to learn, and be and very adaptive actually, because people come from various background, and they may struggle understanding if they create everything in a particular type of format. So this is where we see AI playing an important role. Uh, then talking about maybe let's say Kenya, where I was working previously, they are. I mean, you're aware, like you know, M-Pesa is one great module which they successfully established. Mobile transferring of money through M-Pesa, that was mobile. So they're very adaptive to mobile learning. What do you call M-commerce? Earlier it used to be known as M-commerce. It really went well in places like Kenya, and they are traditionally they uh, they're very they put up a lot of stress in learning and academy, as compared to Nigeria, which is another which has its own set of trends. There it's more of skills, I mean short-term skills. It's not very structured in Nigeria when it comes to education. So there, what we did was we ran a module of internship in our company in travel and tourism, aviation. So we used to offer students from academy and aviation colleges to come and join our company as interns, and we used to skill them um, on our industry. So it used to be short term skill programs which they benefited, and then we used to certify them, and they used to go out and get jobs. Even we used to adapt or maybe recruit them in our own company as subject to the vacancies. India is typically a hybrid kind of environment that I see. They emphasize a lot on getting certified various skills. I mean, it's a huge population. There's a lot of competition also. So I believe India is a typical hybrid model on various factors. So that has been my overall experience with these countries. As you just asked.
No, thank you, thank you. I think that's a very balanced view as well in terms of local relevance and with the global consistencies, right? Like, so every region will perform differently or like act differently. So again, like, thank you for your insights on how kind of regional dynamics can reshape these learning strategies. And those on the ground level insights, especially like because you have worked in those regions, are like definitely invaluable. And thank you for sharing that. I'm sure like a lot of people are like taking that notes of that as well. Again, thank you, Rajal. Now quickly to you, Nicole. Like, yeah, so just want to understand in terms of uh, personal branding, right? Like, so how can organization kind of blend personal branding and professional development to kind of help employees grow into kind of internal influencer or like thought leaders kind of a role?
Employees could companies could help employees, to be like thought leaders and so on by with these ways. They could encourage their employees for content creation. Like, for example, in a specific industry, there's lots of companies that are having brown bag sessions in terms of cybersecurity, accounting department needs to know about cybersecurity, on how to be vigilant about fake referrals and so on. For example, the type of personnel that could do that is part of that company, which is in IT department. So those employees in IT department, in network and security, could share their contents, their personal experience to those other department. It could help them boost their confidence and what they've experienced all throughout their career. In this way they could provide their employees like a public speaking and networking opportunities, and invite them also to represent a company at industry events. It could help them a lot, and with this way they could like recognize and reward thought leadership. It can highlight an employee contributions internally and externally to build their credibility. With this way as well, both the employee and the company could build a great reputation for themselves as well, with these personal brand and so on. So that's all.
Yeah, I think that's very like powerful thought as well, right? Like so, helping employees shine also kind of strengthening themselves as a brand, right? Like so, that's such a fresh and kind of relevant angle for a modern L&D strategy. I definitely feel that internal influencers are the future of engagement, and I definitely loved your take on that. Thank you for sharing that valuable insight, Kelly. Now, to quickly jump back to you, Mr. Manoj, like, yeah, uh, just want to kind of address. So, since you spoke about certain techniques, what you in terms of KDD, right? Like how you mentioned. So, with corporate learning becoming more dynamic and I would say just in time, how can kind of structured framework like KDD, which if you can explain what it is to our listeners as well, kind of help team learn faster without kind of sacrificing kind of quality.
Sure, sure. So, as a knowledge worker, whether we work in IT or in business, we deal with three types of knowledge. One is industry knowledge,
Mhm,
uh, and the other is the organization knowledge,
mhm.
and the last one is project knowledge, if you are involved in project delivery. Now,
Okay.
these three knowledges, we in KDD have structured all these three knowledges. Starts with industry knowledge structuring, then it
Mhm.
goes to organization knowledge structuring, and then it goes to project knowledge structuring. And these three knowledges are interconnected so that each can take advantage of the other knowledge. Now, these structures are industry and
I think Mr. Manoj is having some network issue. Uh, yeah, meanwhile, once he joins back, right, like so, maybe I would go back to Mr. Rajil and like yeah, so just trying to understand like yeah, another thing or like aspect of let's say uh question like so you have launched and managed several digital platforms in your career, right? Like so sorry, Mr. Manoj is back. Like yes, I'll come back to you, Mr. Rajil.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
I think
I'll
I think
try to.
no worries. I think we lost you around like 30-40 seconds. Like
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, there was some internet disconnection. Sorry
no
about
problem.
that. So
No
if
problem.
I quickly summarize and try to finish it. So industry knowledge is industry agnostic, meaning the same structure can be used in multiple industries. Enterprise knowledge is organization agnostic. The same structure can be used in any company, any organization. And project knowledge is technology agnostic. So any technology we're working in, we can use this structure. So using this structure gives us a very logical, scientific, and sequential way. Start with the learning industry, then go and learn your organization, and then you execute a project based on the organizational knowledge structure. And this is how I think that if we are able to make this structure work, it will result into massive savings in the project cost today, as well as increase in quality. So this is all this particular structure is all about. I would sort of end it with one point. And I would like to contrast it with the Gen AI particularly, because the alternate claim is everything is there in Gen AI, right? You type one
Yes.
question, you get the answer.
Yes.
Now, the problem is Gen AI is something that is built on billions and billions of data, right? Now, some of that data are correct, some of those data may be incorrect, we don't know. So we will never be 100% confident that whatever we get from Gen AI is always correct. Whereas if the entire insurance knowledge can be scoped or detailed in 15,000 sentences, so it brings us back into a sustainability environment and says that, look, we don't need necessarily information overload. Very few kilobytes, megabytes can contain the entire fit for purpose industry knowledge, enterprise knowledge, and project knowledge. Then there is a question, why do we go and try to get that information from Gen AI? Why not using this structure in Gen AI itself, and then using the creativity of Gen AI to sort of find the real meaningful insights from the information contained in this structure. So that's where the connectivity from Gen AI to KDD is there. I think I'll stop here unless
Yeah, sure. No, I think that's incredible, and like how your structured framework like KDD, right, like so can bring both speed and accuracy. Thank you for that explanation again. And that concept of structured agility in learning is such a kind of game changer as well. Uh, I'm sure like many L&D leaders will walk away with a practical idea from that insights what you just shared. Thank you for sharing that,
Thank you.
Manoj. Yeah. Uh, I'll quickly move to Mr. Rajil. Like, yeah, considering we are like we have like few minutes left. Like, so just want to address a question to you in terms of let's say you like I mentioned, like you have launched and managed several digital platforms in your career, and what are some of the key kind of features or technologies you believe are a must have for modern learning management system to kind of deliver impactful learning?
Sorry, can you repeat the question?
Yeah, so I was talking about like, so since you have managed multiple digital platforms in your career, right? Like,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
what do you think would be some of the key features or technologies like an LMS or a learning management system uh, or a modern learning LMS should have to kind of deliver impactful learning?
So now, one of the key challenges that we face these days is adaptability. The new generation has a kind of preset comfort zone in their mind, and then the organizations or the management have a set of expectations, and more we are believing in a measurable performance analysis, what we call.
Correct.
Yeah, this is where technology actually plays a very important role.
Mhm.
uh, Regular training, and gone are the days when you can have a graduation or a post graduation under your arm and then set out thinking, okay, this is done and I'm done with my learning part. That never happens anymore.
Correct.
Learning is actually a continuous process. And uh, look at the world. It's so dynamic. Things currently as we speak is so uncertain of what is going to happen. And if you look at last maybe 5 years, there have been so many changes taking place overall in terms of technology. So we keep emphasizing on adaptability, and which actually means learning and continuous learning. So now, traditional method of learning or teaching may not work at this point. This is where we have to adapt technology. Post COVID, we all know, uh, have seen that online training and learning has really taken off very well. So even if, I mean, the in-person classroom sessions have, I mean, they are still there. Of course, it will continue to be there at a particular level, but
Correct.
uh, these days more emphasis is given on short term courses which is online, can be attended from anywhere, even if I'm not in a, like currently, for example, we run certain courses where we have students from Syria, from Afghanistan, from India, from Sri Lanka. In person they are not in UAE, but they're attending classes from there. So technology here plays a very important role. We've seen so many wonders. LMS, of course, plays a very important role. We, in fact, have a couple of students who, because of time restriction, do not attend live classes. They go on to a recorded version of classes, and then further, So these are technologies which is playing around, and I'm sure augmented reality, for example, has played. I saw this technology years back. I was wondering, this can really change the way people are taught. Kids are taught these days. AR
Correct.
actually. I used to collaborate with a company which was developing, a Bangalore-based company developing teaching based on AR and VR, virtual reality. So you can just scan and the entire thing, as a 3D. So small kids, they can really
Yeah.
their level of adaptability and learning goes up, because they're seeing things in a 3D format which is physically not in front of them, but still they can see and feel kind of thing, just by scanning through technology and all, like. So yes, technology definitely plays a very important role. It will keep playing an important role in enhancing the learning capabilities of kids, or even students, and even senior students, senior aged students also can adapt to technology and enhance their learning capabilities.
No, I truly agree with you. Like, yeah, technology plays a very pivotal role in kind of learning these days. Exactly one of the reason, like we at Exaltius were like very heavily invested in technology side of things as well, and that's one of the reason why we wanted to kind of again come up or complete an ecosystem of learning and put an LMS which we build in house called as Android, which was
A
again AI
simulator
powered.
kind of so
Correct.
simulators, I remember when we were kids, it was limited to maybe pilot learning simulators, or driving, kind of learning. But these days we can use augmented reality in creating simulators to teach any kind of teaching format.
Yeah,
Yeah,
correct.
that's
Yeah, that
technology.
exactly. Yeah, I think very valuable insight again. Like love, I definitely love how you kind of tied kind of tech to kind of learning experience and outcomes, right? Like so, what was happening over the years or generations now, and like where the reality is, and like how it has changed drastically. Exactly something we also try to do. We brought up an LMS similarly to kind of which is AI powered, has multiple features, which is heavily tech loaded as well, which is called as Android. And because we believe that like yeah, learning actually has a lot of potential where a lot of text can be kind of like implemented, right? Like, and that's something which we believe. And again, like thank you for that insight, Rajil. Like yeah, now, again, like just quickly want to squeeze in one question, uh, Nicole, before we leave. Considering we have 6 more minutes, so finally, like yeah, so just to get your insight, what's one learning trend or innovations you think kind of companies should be watching closely in 2025 and beyond, and why?
I'll be speaking for not just for my field, but for everyone. Number one,
Okay.
it's AI fluency. You know,
Mhm.
AI is like rapidly reshaping industries. AI fluency, ability to understand, interact with, and leverage AI effectively. It's a must skill for employees. Why? It's becoming a works, workplace co-pilot. AI tools like GitHub, Copilot, ChatGPT, and Notion
Mhm.
AI are automating tasks, improving efficiency. I mean, this will not replace everyone, but it could be your assistant. employees that could effectively collaborate with AI can work faster and much more smarter as well, while those who can't may struggle to keep up. And it AI fluency could really reduce the fear of job displacement. First, AI isn't just replacing jobs, it's changing them. Workers who understand AI strengths and limitations can adapt their roles and use AI to enhance their work. So, us as employees, we need to reskill again and again because of these trends. We need to not be stagnant in our career and learn these technologies as soon as possible because it could help us to learn to adapt because we're in in this kind of industry where technology could really help us shapes everything, so and advance more in terms of everything, in terms of different fields and industry. So that's all.
No, I think yeah, like again, that's a trend I definitely believe we will definitely be keeping an eye on. Thank you, Nicole, for that valuable thought and insight. And definitely a great way to kind of end our segment today as well. Forward thinking and kind of inspiration, all the talks what we had on different topics, very valuable. I think that's the perfect closing insight for today's topic. Uh, Again, like I want to kind of thank all of you once again, Manoj, Rajil, and Nicole, for kind of sharing your valuable expertise, insights, ideas, and actionable strategies to the audience today. I am sure, like, to everybody has like a very valuable session. They are taking away a lot of things from this session, which they can use and implement in their daily kind of work and like in their uh, operations, what they are into. Now to our audience, in whichever platform you guys are watching us from, thank you for being with us, and we kind of hope today's session kind of helped you rethink the future of learning, knowledge management, and workforce development in different and exciting newer ways, of course. uh, Definitely, and like again, if you like to explore cutting edge AI powered corporate training solutions and programs and courses for your organization and yourself, kind of feel free to connect us at Exaltius Academy. Once again, I am Nidin, your host for today, signing off. Until next time, keep learning and keep evolving, everyone. Thanks once again for joining in, everyone. You have a nice day ahead.
Thank you. Thank you, Nitin. Thank you,
Thank you. Thank
Nicole,
you.
Manoj, and rest of the audience. Thank you so